Do you know what your partner's up to when you're away and they're all alone?
No, what?
They're listening to the Screw podcast, of course.
What's that?
Sit back, relax, and listen.
And you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Sneaking in the back door with dirty magazines. So your mother wants to know what all the stains on your jeans. And you're an orgasm addict.
1, 2, 3, go.
My baby don't mess around because she loves the song, and I know there's more song. Hey. Oh, hi everybody. Welcome to the Screw. That's what you were saying, by the way, right? You were saying you're ready to record.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yeah, so welcome to the Screw.
I feel like we haven't recorded in a while. Have we not recorded in a while?
I mean, we recorded right before you left, and I still haven't put it up because we are still riding this weird wave of people in the Netherlands listening to our podcast. I don't know. We haven't posted anything in a hot minute, and we got traction, baby. So what up, Netherlands?
Hi, Nether Regions. We love you.
oh yeah, Nether Regions. That's what we're gonna call them from now on.
Of course. Well, that's what I've always called. Oh wait, no, I haven't called the Netherlands my Nether Regions. I've called my pussy my Nether Regions. But
yeah, you have. So speaking of pussy,
always my favorite segue.
Yeah, I just laugh because I mean, we could probably change the subject to pussy at any given moment of any conversation. And this is kind of pussy by proxy.
Oh God. Yes. I'm so interested to see what you're about to bring up.
Okay, so I tried to play it cool on the interwebs because there's a lot of stupid shit that gets said. Mm-hmm. But we've talked about this long in the past, but this kind of gatekeeping to young, fierce, slutdom and leftist political ideologies and all that stuff. So there's this ridiculous gentleman that I follow on Instagram because he is 20-something years old and always is writing these ridiculous posts about getting fucked in a public bathroom, sucking dick at Dunkin' Donuts, going to the train station in Paris and taking 4 dicks. So he's a content creator. I've never watched any of his content, but his posts crack me up because here's an unashamed person putting this out there. And most people think, if you read the comments, which I don't usually, but there'll be this commentary about, either go you, pro slut, or oh, you give queer people a bad name, right? Or these posts aren't real and you're just queer baiting. Okay. I don't care, don't know. This queer baiting discussion I want to get into, but let me start here. So I, start seeing these posts and I see a self-appointed elder say something to the effect, we fought for you to be able to enter heterosexual assimilation. My words, not his. Oh boy. And or no, his words, not mine. The other way around. Flip that and reverse it. Implying that the fight for queer liberation was a fight for queer assimilation into heteronormative values.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So you know how I feel about that. It's ridiculous. And I'm seeing a lot of people kind of take a bump for having opinions about polyamory or pro get your dick wet kind of mentality or whatever, right? Basically good old-fashioned slut shaming, but applied within the community pretty hardcore to basically blame all the deviants within the community for anything bad befalling queer folks forever and ever and more. So I leave a little thing on there about this is kind of ridiculous. You know, this is why a lot of young queer people are not feeling like a sense of community because of this kind of gatekeeping going on with like the elders who believe like this bizarre ass heteronormative assimilation was what we were actually fighting for, and not like, I don't know, our lives and our right not to be arrested and our right to like enjoy pleasure. And I forget about it, but a couple days later, it comes back this thing, calling me a sex addict, having listened to our podcast, and I hope the queen is listening now, and that like all of this is okay, you know. I'm not slut shaming. I'm saying don't talk about it. So we're back to like don't ask, don't tell. So I mean, this person clearly has no morality whatsoever. They're saying, hey, don't spill our secrets, kind of like thing, and we're gonna shame you on a public platform for like any kind of pro slut feeling as queer men.
Well,
So
it's the same idea of like I'm pro the thing that you are, but I don't want it practiced in a way that makes me uncomfortable. The same
right.
way we're like, I'm pro abortion, but I don't want to see that you're having an abortion because you decided to have one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only pro abortion when it looks a certain way and is packaged a certain way. It's the same exact shit. It's all rooted in misogyny. It's all rooted in racism, and it's all rooted in patriarchy. And that's what it is
Yeah.
at the end of the day. It's just people that clearly never like healed themselves. They have some sort of self-hatred, and
Yeah.
because also then hate parts of their community that make them feel a certain type of way.
Right.
And giving like cis male, I mean, somebody, I don't know, did I send this to you recently? Somebody was like talking shit about like the cis white male swath of LGBTQ plus, and it was very like you guys are like the heterosexual people within the movement kind of thing.
Yeah.
They obviously explained it in a very articulate way. And
No, for sure.
It's definitely like, yeah, exactly. Like, you're giving like, we fight, we get 2 steps forward, and y'all are trying to take us 1 step back every fucking time. And it's one of those disappointing conversations, because it's like, you can practice your belief system however you want. You do not have to go out and be a slut to be okay with sluts existing. It's okay for 2 things to exist and coexist at the same time, but you don't want to see things practiced in a certain way because it makes your dick jump and you get worried about it. So then we all have to suffer at the hands of whatever it is you decide is pure and holy, or whatever, you know, whatever nonsense you're fighting for in that moment.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's just like this guy being like, you know, oh, I'm not slut shaming, but yeah, and the butt is where it lives, because you are slut shaming.
Right. So I kind of like, I'm looking at it like, you know, through the social and political lens of today, right? You have, I'm not even going to care to know which cabinet member, I don't care his name, but somebody within Trump's thing is a queer white male in charge of something. He, you know, blah, blah, blah. And recently he made a commentary about, you know, you shouldn't have anything to worry about as long as you are a normal gay or lesbian, right? Whatever normal means, right? So, and notice all the other letter erasure in there. No bi, certainly no trans, and certainly no plus plus on any other alphabet. He deliberately chose his words very carefully. And this is always used whether you're like a brown immigrant versus like a Black American. There's always some kind of like wedge getting thrown in to say, because we have everybody afraid, like you have some like affinity or association with something that gives you more power. And not just that, make sure you're pointing the finger to keep the attention away from you as much as possible. Of course, we know how that all works. Once they run out of like fingers to point, the only thing pointing is the finger pointing at yourself. So you may not be there now, but you will get there eventually. But this is how like divisive, like identity-based respectability politics work, right? It seeks to say, I'm going to feel safe by being able to identify with the normal ones, or I'm safe because of like my citizenship status or whatever, right? And that's not going to save you forever, folks. So like, and all it does is actually make the communities that we're talking about like less strong, less solidarity, less in numbers, and all of those things are like obviously seriously dangerous these days. So you don't want to be caught by yourself.
It's also giving. I was picked last in kickball, right? It's giving. I would do anything to be accepted by the boys club, and the boys club
Right.
is run by straight men, and the
Right.
straight men can only handle my gayness if I hand it to them in a nice little spoon where they're
Right.
only getting a sip at a time, and it's very. I wouldn't even know he was gay if I didn't know he was gay, right?
Right.
It's giving
Right.
that. It's giving. Meh, I wasn't picked in school because I was slow at my thing, or I was the bad speller. Like, all right, dude,
Yeah.
get over it, go to therapy, and embrace the fact that you probably want to be spanked to like let out that fucking inner hatred of yourself. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's just literally a boys club that people are, you know, they inch one way or the other. You're either inching away from it or you're inching toward it.
Well,
and when you're inching toward it, you want everybody, you need to conform to what everybody else does and looks like,
Yeah.
because otherwise you'll stick out, and there's no room for that in the boys club, right? We have to
Yeah.
secret each other's dicks.
I mean, and that's unfortunately going to be the sad thing, and we've seen this coming for a long time, like almost a white nationalistic, gay and lesbian, like only bi eraser kind of energy coming, and it's certainly been. I mean, like we've
yeah, white nationalist gays are so interesting.
Mm.
like you couldn't put more self-hatred in one fucking I fucking can't.
Well, and I think that most of them, I mean, it's obviously on like a deeper level. I always think this is the problem of actually not addressing shame and just like going towards like whatever middle ground acceptance we can take from somebody else. I mean, if your need for acceptance of yourself is predicated on like another group accepting you, you're not even halfway there. So but okay, so that's that. So and it's actually a good setup, because I'm actually wondering, as a content creator, this kind of next kind of piece of it. So I mentioned that the person is also like heavily accused of like queer baiting throughout this stuff, and like I think I used to feel a certain way about this, but like I think it's kind of stupid. These are like, for all intents and purposes, porn performers. um we've never like been entitled to an intimate understanding of what anybody's sexuality is, but if you are purchasing and watching that content, I'm not sure what difference does it make if they're queer, quote unquote, queer baiting or not.
Well,
Their hustle is to make money, and we don't say the same things about lesbian scenes in straight films. We don't say, oh, that film is like lesbian queer baiting because they put that scene with the two girls with the guy in there, right? It doesn't.
well,
The argument doesn't stand very hard in like the porn content thing to me.
I mean, that would then you would basically have to, if you side with the whole that's queer baiting, that's wrong, then you have to believe that you're not allowed to explore other types of porn, even though you're not in that category of people that would normally consume it, right? On the other side of it, that means that because you're straight, you can only watch straight porn, right? That's stupid and silly. Like, here's the thing, this person is getting customers. A lot of the queer community has a little kink for straight boys or straight women or straight non-binary people that they can turn into a different flavor queer, or whatever. It doesn't, my point is that like it's definitely like a kink on the other side as well. So like it's it's nobody's business to really care. Now, if this person was trying to represent themselves as a real, like, this is who I am, this is me giving it to you straight, then obviously that's not okay. But like, that's not what this is. They're literally trying to get paid off of their sexuality. How they present their sexuality is nobody's business. If they're comfortable having gay customers, why can't they have gay customers even though they're straight? Like, that doesn't, like, again, unless this person is giving false hope to followers, like, hey, I think I'm gonna go on a date with one of you, and even still, like,
I mean, I'm sorry,
it still doesn't even matter. Like, it's up to the person consuming it to decide if they like that or not. Now, does it sometimes give me the ick when people are like, queer baiting and like for certain stuff? Like, yeah, like there's some things that kind of like just make me feel a little like meh, but like it's not something that I give a shit enough about. It's not like why is it wrong?
Well, and here's my
is certain people. Like, it doesn't a lot of queer people watch straight people in porn all the time because there's gay for pay. Like, I don't understand why that would.
And here's the thing, it just doesn't pass like my kind of like internal like logic test because it's so subjective. Like, to me, the concept of queer baiting is mostly going on inside the individual who's consuming its head, right? Like, for it to even be like a significant feature, like if you're going through this process of like wondering if this person is queer or thinking that they have like structured their targeting for you, then that's, I mean, it's on you essentially because you're literally the target that they were looking for, and it worked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
like saying you can't jerk off to like Brokeback Mountain because those actors aren't gay. Like, who cares? Like, if you're consuming it and you like what you see, it's not real, and maybe you think it's real, but you need therapy. That's not on the creator. Like, they're not taking advantage of that. Like, you need to help yourself.
Somebody like trying to pick up GLAAD awards like on behalf of like their contribution to the community, like, and
I think that's kind of like I think it's people being grumpy that they don't have a chance with the person is really what
was like. Tom Hanks queer baiting because he played like a Kona in Philadelphia? Like, I mean, like, what where does this kind of line stop in our understanding? Like, are they queer baiting if they like give a nod and say I support the community while not like defining their sexuality, or like, like who cares exactly? It's
but also like, why, what? I just don't understand why there's any piece of the community that would be like offended by the portrayal. Like, I don't know. It doesn't.
It's not like the community has worked so hard to keep the economics of the community within the community. We gave our money to Targets and Chase Manhattan and anybody who would hold up a fucking rainbow pride flag for us a long fucking time ago. So I don't know what this high-mindedness of is. It's not like you source your products from like queer distributors. It's not like you've looked for like a queer clothing maker and like, what? Oh, because that clothing person makes clothes that fucking queer people like to wear, they're queer baiting you now? Like, it's a false like thing that we ever gave a shit about how we supported the community financially.
I don't think it's that at all. I think it's people once again conflating parasocial relationships and what influencers quote unquote owe people.
Yeah. Right.
They're conflating the idea that like there is a chance because you are a real person, you're accessible, and because of that you owe me 100% honesty and you owe me a chance with you, and that's just not the case. It's the same thing as when one of my clients or customers or just followers freaks out and gets upset because I'm dating somebody and they think that they've lost a chance with me because of it. It's silly. It's based in a lack of reality. It's just absolutely like it's literally people just needing help. And I think that honestly, especially with influencers, people have this weird expectation where back in the day, if people found out a guy wasn't fucking gay in a video, they wouldn't be upset by that. If anything, they'd be turned on by it. So like, we don't ever hold that standard to like, studio production porn
Yeah.
stars. I would hold that standard to people that you stumble upon online. Yes, part of the appeal is that they are quote unquote more accessible. They are more real. They put more of themselves out there. There is less production and behind their stuff. And because of that, you see a little bit more of them as a human. But once again, at the end of the day, they are still a performer and they're putting on a show to get money out of you. They are
Right.
not in love with you in return just because they called you sweetie, and they don't owe you their queerness or lack thereof just because you view them in a certain way as a performer. Period.
Yeah.
Get over it, you know?
Yeah, and so I think that is kind of what's happened with like the amateur porn revolution, so to speak. Like the accessibility to content creators is different. Like, you would never ask you really, unless you went to like the, ABN awards or whatever, you were not having that kind of access to like other network porn stars or whatever, where you were so intimately involved, you knew who they were dating.
And I'm sorry to burst a lot of y'all's bubbles, but 9 out of 10 of the people you're interacting with are paying someone else on the back end to interact with you.
Right.
Most of the big name content creators that you think owe you something.
Oh yeah, have a social media manager who are sending you out fucking.
They do not have time to message you back on OnlyFans. They are
Yeah.
paying somebody to do that, which is why you should subscribe to me, because I have all time. I'll send you back a voice memo to prove it's me every time, bitch. Anyways, and that's just want to throw in that. But it's true, like people do not have time to fucking worry about what you think of them. Either give them your money or don't and move on.
Yeah.
Unless they're falsely representing a marginalized group of people
Sure.
in a way where they're taking, like, there's only one of them. Right? Like, they're not taking money out of the queer community's pocket because queer people are paying, because people are paying that person to be that person.
Yeah.
It's not like they have
just,
and they're not queer and they're getting the money. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, even
no, it's always a very misguided, ridiculous, righteous rage. If I were to like ask a number of listeners who buys Charmin toilet paper, you'd probably get a bunch of hands raised. It's a nice toilet paper. It feels really good on the fucking butthole. But it's a Koch brothers industry product. And we know how much those conservative assholes have pumped into like really bad things for the queer community and for all sorts of human beings, right? But none of you all are like stopping to think, hey, I'm actually like spending money on things where people are actively trying to harm the community and they're purveyors of that profit. So I just ask like to apply some like intelligent rage about things that actually matter, whether or not like your JO video clip person actually like is attracted to their target audience. Like, I mean, what? Anyways, it's such a thing right now, because you're seeing with the increase of kind of like, content creators, especially in like the old markets like LA or whatever, kind of like circumventing the traditional porn studio market and creating kind of like little cooperatives of their own, other content creators in their area that like are all doing it separately, but then all kind of collaborating together. We basically are back to square one with studio porn again. And they are hard, like, and I don't know if they were smart and got financial backers and are doing these, we're entering this kind of fake, well-produced amateur OnlyFans market these days too, as people get better technology for their bedrooms and whatever, and like hire editors, like it's.
And then me still poor. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I think that now if somebody's misrepresenting a community, or saying, or like benefiting off of that community by, like you said, like winning a scholarship or something like that,
Sure.
that's different. That's completely different. But if they're literally just working for themselves and letting you think whatever you decide about their
Yeah.
sexuality, like, this is just a job for them. And it doesn't, like, at the end of the day, what you're trying to say is, like, this person has to be attracted to every single person that signs up to them. Well, what
Yeah.
if they don't like bald people, and a bunch of bald people, those people can't sign up to them, and they can't, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Like, I understand that there is, there are places where people are benefiting from kind of, pretending to be a different whatever it might be. But
Sure.
like, this isn't one of those instances, because it's all a performance at the end of the day. It's not them in the community reaping benefits of it. They are behind a
Right.
screen.
It's not like their OnlyFans is me fucking my boyfriend, and that's the name of it, right? Like, it's not like it's embedded
But
in.
even still, it's not like my OnlyFans is me actually fucking my brother. I don't have one. You know what I mean? Are you telling me I can't fantasize now? Again, like, now
No,
now
you
we're
make a
creating
really.
rules that don't
That
need
is
to be there.
That's really funny. Like, that's what I would challenge in a thing too. So, because I watch these videos of a lot of these content creators because I'm actually curious, from the psychological standpoint. Me, I'm always having this conversation. Like, how are you balancing making content, living your life, having like regular relationships? And like, some of these boys were saying, like, oh, I don't answer that question about if I'm dating anybody anymore because it never goes somewhere well. He's like, I love my fans. I love my fans. They're sweet, but they don't need to know all of that about me. I think it's like, it's a
You're allowed
smart.
to have a personal life. It
Yeah.
doesn't, nobody's business.
Well, not just that, you're allowed to have a private personal life.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the disconnect is. Oh, if you live in public, everything you do, everything about you, like, becomes public. And that's not true. That's why you see eventually these bad reactions. I don't know if you read recently about like the whole Doja Cat fan t-shirt thing, but you watch the video, he's like very uncomfortably like touches her, gives her his sweaty shirt, and like afterwards she like just felt, she's like, I felt over touched, like, you shouldn't get to touch me and kiss me on the face like that. You don't know me.
Right.
So it blew up, oh, is she being a bitch? Oh, is he da 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 da? They're having like some kind of online fight over it. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, it's social skill. Like, I'm glad you all think because of the internet, this best friend is in your living room, and when you see them in public, you have that kind of access, but you don't. You don't go up to anybody that you have never met and like start hugging them and give them a kiss and like act so familiar. Where's the like humility and humbleness and just meeting people, not even a star? Like, who would you do that to?
Yeah, I mean, that's super inappropriate in like so many different ways, but especially being that it's like a star, like, that's like, especially with some of the crazy shit that's happened in the past, stars and stuff. It's like, this is
Absolutely. We've had a tennis player was stabbed in the back many years ago, right near her spinal cord. I mean, crazy fans have done everything. One shot the president because they were obsessed with Jodie Foster. Like, come on now. Let's think fucking smart about these things. Like, I remember because there was a thing a few years ago where, Bad Bunny was somewhere and somebody just aggressively got in his face with their cell phone taking pictures, and he took it and he threw it. And it's like, oh, you're going to lose fans for that. And it's like, you shouldn't. No, like, you can't be that invasive with people. Like, it's horrible. Like, it shouldn't be the thing, oh, we enjoy this person so much, they are not entitled to their life anymore. It's like, there was a crazy South Park episode many years ago about Britney Spears, and like, how the cult of the public was basically, calling for her sacrifice, essentially, like, you know, until, you know, they basically destroy her. And then like they do this end scene, and they go from Britney Spears, it's now Miley Cyrus, right? They're calling for blood for the next like tribute of like the pop culture population to give them
Right.
reason to like live, I guess. I don't know. It's, you know, and I'm always disappointed to see these things in between like bombs dropping all over the world. You see somebody who had the time to be like butthurt about something so ridiculous. You want to contextualize everything for everybody. Like, and be like, yeah, I mean, this is hopefully not going to be important to you in like 6 months from now, because that would be a shame if you're still replying to comments when so many things have happened in between now and then. And I get it, you know, people need to put their head in the sand with some subject or another, but you know, because I'm not, there's a lot of trauma going on right now. I'm not trying to judge anybody for how they're coping through it. I'm just saying, contextualize it, because I had a dear friend many years ago in the middle of like COVID and all this fear mongering and this horrible president who was like writing about like mommy dates with like wine. And I just couldn't believe like the disconnect from reality to like the actuality. And had to roast that person, you know? And what can you do? It's really just
I always feel like a big dickhead when I'm like, free Palestine, next story, buy my nudes, next story, donate some money to my friend who has something really serious going on with them, much more serious than what's going on with me. Next slide. Who wants to buy a package of my nudes? I'm poor and only have pasta. Next slide.
Right.
World War III. Next slide. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's
totally.
so funny, like, to try to sell your tits in between like things that
Doom
actually
scrolling.
need help,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean,
Right.
I'm gonna love some sort of broader psychological study about, and you know, it reminds me of, did you ever see the film version of Clockwork Orange? When they're putting him through like the like they're trying to make him not a bad sex addict, scary man or whatever, and they're exposing him to all of this kind of crazy stuff. It's like bombs and then titties and then, you know, an animal being beheaded and then titties, you know. So they're trying to like do this really fucked up thing. But I feel like we do that all every day, like
that's
doom scrolling.
You're right. That's exactly what my stories on Instagram are. It is if you were to open your eyeballs and claw them open with the inability to blink and watch for at least 30 minutes, things go from like bombs to titties to sad to animal to bombs. Yeah, it's the same. It's just a series of stimuli, essentially. It just sucks because like it's like I still have to make rent, but also free Palestine, you know. It's like
but also, I mean, look, we know, you know, and coming at this from a kind of like my public health perspective, I will say this: we're looking at all sorts of things, like overdoses is down, but general like use of things, I believe, is up. So people are kind of trying to satiate themselves, you know. And I always look at this, I'm like, oh, you know, if the economy is still kind of stable, it means like we're all still shopping to make ourselves feel better. And, you know, at some point, you know, maybe that'll stop working and then like overdoses will be up again. You know, I mean, sure.
Just is that like, am I allowed to make a dark humor joke about my pussy being bomb, or is that just too soon? Like, I don't know. That's the question.
Well, the beauty of this reality is we've lived in a world for many, many years where there's always bombs dropping somewhere. So they might as well be dropping out of your pussy or into. How does this bomb pussy analogy work again?
I think you misunderstood this.
No, like I didn't, but I forgot like how exactly we were incorporating bombs in your pussy.
It's just that my pussy is bomb, you know?
Oh, not like a bomb bursting in air. It's just the bomb. You know, that's the thing with doom scrolling. I'm picturing, you know, the mushroom cloud as you take off your underwear and open your pussy lips. It's like, that's where we're at now.
That's a beautiful visual. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's perfect for this upcoming holiday. So look at you.
Oh, right.
God bless.
God bless them. Yeah. I
Yeah, nothing's dropping out of me. Not right
Yeah.
now, at least. Not currently. Tomorrow's a new day, though. We'll see.
That's beautiful. I like your general, like, you know, enthusiasm. You know, you got this like little butch boy thing going on right now. I don't know what it is, but like you look cute. Like I expect you to either throw a softball at me or I don't know. Maybe it's more. What's that thing that they do with the big balls where they're always pulling rugby? Rugby. That's what I was thinking. You're giving me like hot rugby vibes.
Cool. No, I have to go to Mexico in 2 days, so I'm just tired because I have a lot to do. So
Yeah.
I'm yeah. I'm like
Well,
fried brain.
Re-download WhatsApp and like, you know, you'll be closer to my time zone once you get to Mexico by 1 hour.
That side of Mexico, the other side of Mexico.
Oh, right. What side of Mexico are you going to?
The East Coast.
The East Coast. So the Gulf?
I don't know. Where's Cancun?
Yeah. Yeah, that side. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, because one's the Pacific Ocean and one's the Gulf of America. Oh my God, you're going to the Gulf of America? This is amazing.
Oh boy. Yeah. God bless the Gulf of America.
So, just like a question, like when you come back in, like I would highly recommend you not have any social media apps on your phone.
Why?
Just saying.
Like I have to delete all my social media off my phone?
Well, I wouldn't say, do you know your like passwords for things?
No.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm just saying be smart about what's on your phone. Titties are fine, but like Free Palestine isn't going over very well at the border.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I'm not just being paranoid. I'm like literally tracking what habits are going on. And obviously it's like anything with immigration for American citizens. You most likely will get asked 2 questions because they're not going to profile you based on like what you look like. But, you know, yeah.
What are they gonna ask me?
I'm going to ask you, do you sympathize with queer baiting? Are you a queer baiting sympathizer? Have you now or ever been involved in an incident where you baited the queer?
I've masturbated the queer.
See? I knew it. Lock her up. No, have a good trip. Try to enjoy the sun. Don't talk to frat boys. I think that covers it.
I'm like in a resort. I'm not leaving. I'm just gonna like get room service and go in the
Oh
pool.
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. You're doing that very specific. Yeah. I've heard about that.
Well, is
it all inclusive? Do you get like all the drinks you want?
Yeah, but I don't really drink anymore, so I feel like I'm wasting it, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever you could have drank that day, you put in a plastic bag and mailed to Albuquerque. Can you imagine just like taking all of your like your drinks from your inclusive thing and putting them into like multiple thermoses or like water bottles and just like, hey, save this for me for when we get back. We got a year's worth of drinking to do.
Oh my God. That's funny. No, yeah, I don't know. I'll eat my weight in food. It's totally fine.
There you go.
But I definitely was like, you know, I'm looking forward to like not thinking for a few days.
Fuck yeah.
I'm bad at groceries and food. So
Yeah,
like,
I hear
yeah.
you.
Anyways, it's for a fucking wedding, and it's gonna be awesome. But also like, I have some stressors, so I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like a little overtired from that. But trying to
Yeah.
get work done so I don't have to like. I brought all my filming stuff so I can film while I'm there, but
Nice.
I don't want to have to like do editing while I'm there because that's like the boring shit. I'd rather
Yeah.
like, you know.
I don't know how you do it. Applause. Applause.
Well, what else am I gonna do? Not eat? Like, yeah, that week I can eat, but after that, I gotta come home and get groceries. So it's just
Yeah.
like it's bad time, like financially bad timing across the board. But it's fine. It doesn't matter. Why am I complaining about this on the podcast? I am just a little stressed, but I'm also like looking forward to it. And then after, I don't have anything going on this summer, so like
Yeah.
I'm gonna chill in.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we should like try to enjoy the summer low budget style for as long as possible and record massively amazing podcasts about an idealized world where we get paid a living wage to play with our body parts because I'm a fan.
I'd prefer higher than a living wage because I'm already
Okay.
wage is not so
No,
great.
no, no, you're right. And you have to like these are like economies of scales or whatever you want to talk about. Like if this is something that you can't possibly do your whole entire life and that there's like kind of like a wear and tear warranty kind of required kind of thing, you should get paid higher, right? Because like if you're a consultant, right, you're not getting benefits, right? You're not getting health care, you're not getting paid vacation. So you should get paid like above market premium.
The fucking wear and tear line really like did me in. That was good. Um, I just I just would like to have a savings account. That's my only goal right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so did we have anything else to talk about? Because like I don't remember if we did.
No, but no, I think we did good. I think we did good. These are things that were really like pressing on my mind that I had to get out there and like talk about and like
Walk
because
about.
I don't get beat like people don't pick on me online that often. But like every once in a while they do. And like when it's obvious, I like at first I was like, why is this person calling me a sex addict? What does that have to do with like what I'm talking about? And like clearly kind of seeing like, oh, I see what he's putting together here. Like he's putting together my podcast. Like I hope he added to like my download account. Like, and that's all, that's all anyone can hope for in this world. Love me or hate me, but up my download rate. Okay? That's it. Subscribe and follow, bitch, even if you want to hate on it.
That's a beautiful thing. We love that.
Exactly. Like, I think people love to be irritated. Like sometimes they realize that like I'll follow certain things that give me like extreme anxiety. And like, why am I following? Why am I following this? Waiting for something like I don't know if you ever see any of those like people's audit videos where people like try to like push the boundaries of the understanding of their First Amendment rights to film in public places, to like audit like public officials. And they're super tense because no police officers seem to know what the law is. So they're always like trampling all over everybody's rights. But these videos, like, they make me so anxious and I can't stop watching them. That's fucked up to me. Like, I already know these things. I already know a lot about like these particular rights. I don't need to see people constantly testing them. I know pretty much 99.5% of the time they're going to be trampled on by authority figures. I've known that since I was 16 walking in Springfield and a police officer demanded like my ID And I said, for what? You can't just demand my ID. Like, I'm walking here. There's no curfew here. Like, you have no right to even be talking to me. You know, I was standing in front of my apartment, but that was like the funny, like, part of it. You know, like, like, what is your probable cause to even be like talking to me right now? Just that I'm out of the house after dark? Weird.
Right.
Anyhow, so no, you can't see my ID, bitch. Anyways, I love you. I hope you have a
I
nice
love
trip.
you.
I'm sure how many days before you leave?
I leave in 2 days. I leave Wednesday morning really early.
Woohoo! All right.
Yeah, I'll just be happy when I'm there with like all my dresses hung up and steamed, you know?
Nice. Yeah.
Like that just will make me feel at ease because everything right now is just in a ball, in a bag, in another bag, in a ball.
In a bag, in a ball, in a ball, in a bag.
Yeah, I just need to like iron. It's giving me anxiety.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, you'll do it. I believe it. I hate ironing.
Yeah.
Wash and press, bitch. Wash and press.
I just remembered I have therapy at 6 o'clock and
Oh.
I am like so fried. I'm gonna be like
Well, it gives you an opportunity. I went to therapy high a couple of times. In general, I tried not to because like, you know, therapists will give you this kind of thing about like we're trying to get to like the kind of unaltered you, which I totally get, but sometimes you go to therapy and you're like, what am I going to talk about today? I don't know what I want to talk about today. And like you're just kind of going through your head. And ultimately it doesn't matter. It's therapy. You could sit there in silence for 50 minutes if you want. But like, you know, I do think like every once in a while some really good shit comes up when you're like slightly altered during a session. And you can be like, you know, I would normally be like auditing myself a lot more. You know, like I think when I used to get high when I was younger, I would do that a lot. Like, let me be really self-conscious about my state of being. And now I don't. Like, if shit comes out of my mouth and you don't like understand that I'm stoned as fuck, and like if that context isn't clear to you, we probably shouldn't be having a conversation together because you don't understand my context, and that's
well,
okay.
I mean, like I'm high, but I'm also very tired. Like I'm just like
Uh-huh.
drained. So I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to talk. And she's gonna be like, you're so real for that. I
Oh,
love
really?
it.
She
It's
says
so
stuff.
fun.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cute. I
she's
love
like,
that.
I can tell she's probably like just a couple years younger than me. Like she's in my age range somewhere in there. You know what I
Isn't that
mean? Like,
crazy when you start hitting therapists that like are possibly younger than you?
yeah, I love it because it's like, it's I don't know. Like we can relate on so many levels because like our generation is breaking the curse of like what like you know like I can tell like she dealt with like a narcissist parent too. Like I don't know. We just have
Uh,
more things in common, which helps her to like relate to me and because of that I feel like way more validated, which is really nice. So I always encourage people to like
mm,
find a therapist that helps complement what you need. So like maybe if you
yeah.
have mommy issues, do not find a mommy style therapist. Like don't find
Mm.
somebody that's too much older than you or that's like just try to find somebody
That's
that's
actually really good advice.
more of like a neutral ground, right? Because neutral for
Mm.
me is like my peer group or like even younger than me. So like why wouldn't that be who I chose from as opposed to the people that have hurt me with which in my life has always been typically like the older generation for me,
Right.
so it's
Yeah.
like finding a mom would not like a mom therapist or even a dad therapist, like neither of those would really work very well for me. I need more, and I'm not good with like authority figures, so
Yeah.
I can't have somebody be telling me in a way where it's like, well, I know better. It needs to come from like a girl, you deserve better.
Well,
You like, like a
yeah.
cheer on kind of way instead of like a talk down to kind of way. So
So I actually think you make a really good point, and like this is really like important right now. I think too, because I haven't been to therapy in a few years myself, but I went for many years, and
Mhm.
I'm always trying to kind of piece together like, hey, there should be something that better helps people figure out what like the filtration for the type of therapist would be a good match for them. And I don't
Right.
just mean like, oh, what is, the way we were taught to do it and the way we always talk about it at school was like, what kind of psychological theory does this person work from? Is it like a feminist like theory in psychology which exists? Is it like humanist? Is it Jungian? Is it like, there's all these kind of like, is it psychoanalysis? But those are kind of like, those are methods of therapy. And I think the answer for anybody looking is always yes to as many of those skill sets
Yeah.
as possible, because it
Mhm.
gives you more tools in your bag, because not everything is like a fit for, what works for Felicia is not going to necessarily work for Aaron, and like,
Right.
and
Mhm.
that's the beauty of like somebody who has got a lot of that. But I think also when you're talking about like personality type matchups, it's true, because the therapeutic relationship is like tricky.
Yeah.
If you're finding like that person is like they kind of like don't talk to me in a way that like makes me feel comfortable or at ease, that is super important, because you're gonna have a hard time. I don't want to say never, because I do think sometimes these things morph after a few sessions, but it's going to be like difficult for you to feel comfortable and vulnerable and trustworthy of this person who's supposed to be guiding you on this journey, right? And
Absolutely.
I think that's like definitely an important discussion to have,
Mhm.
we live in a time where there's lots of ability to connect with therapy online through telehealth appointments, and I think all of these things are really good. Just make sure you're with somebody that like, so you're not, I mean, I think there's some value in talking to somebody regardless, but you also don't want to waste your
Sure.
time. If you're like thinking, oh, I have a goal, even if it's a simple one, or you don't even know, maybe your first like thing is about setting goals. I don't have a goal, I need to understand. And I'm talking about emotional goals, so, and I think this is, that's a really great way to think about it. So I think people, yeah, you need to think about what kind of interactions and what kind of communication really mesh to make you feel the most at ease, like you can
Definitely.
be yourself, because ultimately that's all you need to be. You're not there for the therapist, they're there for you, but you have to really feel like you can work it. So
Right, definitely. That's why I chose a woman in my age range, because for me, like the person that I'm closest to on like a full scale level, like trust wise and stuff, has always been like a sisterly figure in my life, and that makes
mm-hmm,
sense to choose a woman in my age range, and
mm-hmm,
it works great. But also, I would like to challenge anyone to take a look at what place you're going to. If they don't ask you a series of questions to try to match you with the best person, uh,
mm-hmm.
now listen, not everybody has the same resources, and every set of
Truth.
resources has a different kind of quality of care that comes with it. But I will say this: if you think that, say you're on Medicaid and you're noticing that there is a lot of maybe, there's just maybe too much on the plate of the therapist you're talking to or seeing in
Mm-hmm.
person, and you're thinking like, oh, this is the standard of care for Medicaid. That's not necessarily the truth. You
That's
may
fine.
have the ability to have something better out there for you that is even just maybe telehealth or whatever, because you'd be
Mm-hmm.
surprised the different things that are, there's a lot of practices now that are taking things like Medicaid and Medicare, and they're
Yeah,
being more inclusive of that sort of thing. So
yeah,
don't be afraid to just like keep looking if you're finding that there's
yeah.
places that aren't really like the right fit for you. Cause like I found a place that asked me like 50 open, or like 50 different questions and then some open-ended stuff. And
Mm.
they gave me a list of two therapists that they thought would work well with what I was looking for and who I was as a person. And from there, I looked at both of their profiles. They both would probably have fit. One,
Yeah,
my eye was drawn to one more than the other, and I decided on that person, and she's been absolutely
nice,
fucking wonderful. So
nice.
like, and
Yeah,
I have, again, I'm on Medicaid. So like if I can find that sort of care, you probably can too. So don't be
yeah.
afraid to like keep looking.
Yeah, and also that Psychology Today search is still there, and you can it still also does have like a filter option for like your area code if you're looking for more like in-person things. But like what I've noticed on their search function is you will also see ads for things like Better Health and whatever, who are also kind of like filterable by like what insurance you have. And you can really, have some like pre things out there too. Like some of the therapists I've found like the new categories of like kink affirming,
Yeah, right. Like
LGBT, like
that
blah
was
blah blah.
exactly the place I went to had all of that there. Like
Yeah.
the fact that what I do for work, what I
Yep.
like my sexuality, all of those different pieces of that were
Yeah.
all questions that I was asked, which is
Yeah.
fantastic
Beautiful.
because exactly like the person that I work with is actually a sex therapist as well. So
Nice.
sometimes because of what I do for a living, sometimes she uses that knowledge to kind of give me advice or whatever in that field as well, which is really cool because that's why I was like, this person would understand me a little bit differently than just say somebody who doesn't work in that field, right? So
Yeah.
it's really cool the different things you can find out there.
So you're having me think, like, I think I should probably, like, I think, like, I'm gonna actually look up somebody and get on that process because, there has been, and so far it hasn't been retracted yet, but like a expansion in a lot of behavioral health services in a lot of states to like combat, a lot of the traumas of COVID, a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
things going on. So, I'm gonna try it out, and I'll let y'all know how the process
Did
works.
did I just did I just inspire you to go back to therapy? What a beautiful
You
thing.
did, you did. I mean, like,
I'm trying to get like everybody in my life in therapy or back to
I
therapy
love
because I'm
that. I
like
love that.
why can't like we all deserve to be like in our healed and happy era.
Right.
Even when I'm spiraling out, I'm always just like
Oh well, because
I have a place to put this and that's really
yeah.
good for me.
You
It's really
remember
good.
how I was back with therapy. Like I was always trying to have conversations with everybody about therapy.
No,
Like
of course. You
it's
were
it's
always
it
a huge advocate of it for sure.
and it's something I think, I've always thought of it as yes, this is like part of my like lifelong process as I think it should be for anybody. But it's also like when you have like a long-term relationship with a therapist and then you like end it because you move somewhere or whatever, or they move, it is definitely like a daunting task of like figuring out like, oh, it's like a breakup almost, but on like this. Oh, I worked so hard to become like this level of vulnerable, this level of sharing with somebody. Like, it feels like a lot of work to go through that again. But like, I also know how important that is. So,
I'm so excited that I inspired you. This makes me very
yeah,
happy.
you're awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening to this very interesting
All over the place.
wormhole like episode of the screw. I don't even know if we could have hit like more interesting and bizarre topics together, but that's kind of like what being like in this friendship with like us two people whose minds are in a million things at once. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yay, ADHD. Okay, we love you all and we hope you have a happy and healthy week. Okay, bye.